United Nations on Tuesday, January 12th, advised the Nigerian government to impose a restriction on movement in a bid to check the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. According to the UN, a restriction of movements could be effective in reducing the spread of the virus in the country. It, however, implored the government to implement such restrictions in communities. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 had on Monday blamed passengers' travels, reopening of schools and businesses, among others, for the recent spike in COVID-19 cases in Nigeria. Also, the country has 101,331 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 1,361 fatalities from the virus as of Monday night. The UN report read, infection and control measures based on restricting movements and interpersonal contact can be effective in slowing down the transmission of infection, giving healthcare systems more time and capacity to cope with COVID-19. These measures, including isolation, physical distancing, will only be effective if a community-wide implementation is successful, as the mitigation measures will require people to self-impose difficult restrictions on their social interactions and movements. There is a need for a robust risk communication strategy that expands the web of community engagement and cooperation. In this regard, we deployed culturally sensitive communication strategies co-created with the Lagos State Government, Lagos local government administrators, civil leaders, women's organizations and networks, religious and traditional leaders to ensure open and honest transmission of messages. Meanwhile, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 on Tuesday, January 12, stated that the attitude of Nigerians will determine the implementation of a fresh lockdown. This is with respect to their compliance or non-compliance to COVID-19 protocols amid the second wave of the pandemic. The PTF stated. Dr. Sani Aliyu, the PTF National Coordinator, stated this while featuring on a television program. According to him, no decision has been taken on a fresh lockdown yet, but public attitude will determine whether or not the task force would impose a fresh lockdown. Aliyu said a lockdown is not going to be decided by the PTF, but is going to be decided by the behavior of the public when it comes to these rules. We have countries abroad that have very strict non-pharmaceutical intervention measures, and everybody follows it. The flights are coming in, schools are open, churches are open, and they don't have COVID problem because everybody observes the rules. Also, DSS raises a plot by criminals to create a lot of things, and this can really trigger what we are trying to avoid. We definitely don't want a lockdown, and because we don't want to lock down, we need to make sure we do everything we can to prevent ourselves from reaching that state where the government will have to take action. We don't have to get to that level. If we get to that level, definitely the government will take action, and it is the attitude of people that will determine whether there is going to be lockdown or not. I don't know the abroad that this particular man is talking about, the Aliyu, Dr. Sani Aliyu, the PTF National Coordinator, saying that abroad that they don't have a pharmaceutical whatever, but they have all those things put in place and they don't have COVID-19 problem. Which country is he talking about? I don't even know. One thing is that to go on lockdown, of course, it will have a long way to go to help to curb the spread of this pandemic. But do you have what it takes to lock down? Because it's not just to lock down. People do lockdown, countries do lockdown, and it's effective because they already have plans in place to cushion the effect of their people. But here, ordinarily or in ordinary day, does government have a plans for the people how to cushion the effect? Even people are complaining there is no database, and that was one of the problems we had in the first lockdown. And they couldn't cope. They just selected few individuals, just give them peanuts, and they told the whole world that they are fed Nigerians. No Nigerian should be complaining or was to complain that there was no food. And meanwhile, we know where they did all of that. At the end of the day, the palliative that they said people donated, private companies, private individuals donated for them. They stock them. It was during the NSAS protest we began to see all of those that they stock and they hid them. And they were telling us, okay, I thought they said that they will tell you that they have looted everything. Because they said they were waiting for COVID-19, the second wave. And meanwhile, in the first wave, you didn't share it, but you are waiting for things to be shared during the second wave. Now, the second wave is available now. It's here because the way they are going, because they are trying to say, oh, it will not depend on the people. So they want to tell the people, so if we lock down, it is you that caused it. And I don't think they are going to be telling Nigerians that you caused it, so we don't have anything to provide for you. So there's nothing like nothing wrong in locking down, but you just make sure that you have what it takes to lock down. They know you're the lockdown for amount to. Well, UN, please leave us alone. God is able to protect us. UN, you better stop this rubbish. The Nigeria wicked politicians came to your countries and brought in this virus on the innocent citizens when these mad people were not checked at the airport. So to shut down the country is not welcome because no welfare package for the citizens. So lockdown without job and food, why our bills are expected to be paid from where? Okay. When Fulani herdsmen and Boko Haram were killing and maiming Nigerians, you were silent. Today you want to advise us advise us on COVID-19. First, advise your country first. Somebody please repatriate these vaxxers. Lockdowns have been counterproductive and ruinous where they are coming from. That is not news. Where the devil is, right behind the deep blue sea of incompetent public administration. Is that the best UN can offer Nigerians? Let them leave us. God is with us. Let them leave us alone. Like somebody said, God is going to protect us. Also, UN and the so-called white men should stop dictating for Africans, and Africans must stop listening to them. The so-called white man is not any more intelligent than African, and Africa must free themselves from mental slavery to the so-called white man. The so-called white man that is not actually white but is actually butter-colored in complexion. Oh, this one is bringing another thing into this. Well, not that anybody is wiser than any other person, but the lack or the willpower to be able to stand on your feet, that this is what I want, so that you maintain your integrity. That is one of the problems of the African leaders. They don't even care. They know the right thing, but in as much whatever they are going to be yielding to is going to profit them, they don't care about the rest people. And that is how we have found ourselves in this position we are today. But if you leave yourself, people will ride on you. If you exhibit any character of not knowing what you want yourself, you are always on the side of pity. People will pity you, or people will even ride over you if you think or you exhibit that sense of not having sense, not even intelligent. Definitely they will suggest a lot of things to you. It is either you take it or you leave it. But can you vouch for your leaders, whether they are able to do the right thing, or they have that mental capacity to be able to decide for what they want? But results are what we are seeing today. So it is not their fault. If you say you don't have sense, they will teach you sense. So we need to advise our own leaders.